Help wanted. 1 million bright, college-educated professionals for sometimes dangerous position. Expect long hours, abuse, and disrespect. Experience with gangs and drug addiction preferred. Starting salary, about $18,000 a year. You might wonder what kind of crazy person would want to become a teacher today. But the truth is, there is no more important job on the face of the earth. Now, we're always complaining about what's wrong with our kids, what's wrong with our schools, and more, what's wrong with our teachers. We entrust them with our children's future, but at the same time wonder, are there any great teachers left? The truth is, there are.
My compliments, Colonel Markman. Your troops look excellent. All right, the scene is, you're 125 years back in time.
Living history is a reality approach to the study of social studies. It's putting students in an environment where they can experience the time period, the feelings of the historical situation you put them in. Hands-on, you are there.
Whatever happens tonight, do your best. You got it? Keep control of your troops if you're alive. Keep control of them.
In the beginning, the first year, I had some frustrations because I was confined, as I've often said, a 2x4 kind of teacher, the two covers of a textbook and the four walls of a classroom. And I was trying to convey how the American Revolution was fought. And what I did was I got a dozen kids in a parking lot with 2x4 muskets and the Pirates of Penzance uniforms and did it. But every year, my students and I learned together. And it just continued to grow and become more sophisticated and more historically accurate and more real.
After preparing for months by studying every aspect of the Civil War, the kids get to time travel and spend 24 hours in the 19th century.
Now they know about a march. They know what it's like to be out there slogging and keep going, guys, because you know what? There's no cab's going to take you anywhere. And when you want your meal, well, you make this huge stew and you eat it. You don't nuke it in the microwave.
This is not Rambo does the Civil War. This is the way it happened historically, and we're going to do it right.
If you are pretty good at creative financing, it doesn't take a lot of money. It takes some money. My students pay 25 cents a week dues. Out of that dues, he will be as equipped as best we can.
I want to hear those commands.
I think you can do it out in the plains of Nebraska. You can do it in the hills of California, because throughout America, we all study American history.
You may not know it, but there's a revolution going on in Peekskill, New York. No, it's not a violent one. It's just that the 7th graders at the Blue Mountain Middle School have added revolution to their 3 R's. And for them, learning has never been more fun.
Take up! Take up! Hold! Shoulder! Forward! Order! Forward! Shoulder! Forward! To the left! Bang! To the right! Please! Hip hip!
Living history is more than just somebody putting a costume on a child. They must have experiences that they can relate to the revolution. Students have to have a what I call a well-rounded approach to history, a reality approach. And of course, this they see by working with a number of different teachers, not just myself, in an environment such as the Van Wyck Homestead, which lends itself so beautifully to this.
Battalion! Battalion! This! Miss!
I was rather bored with the classic method of teaching the American Revolution. And together, actually the first year of teaching, my students and I explored the revolution in kind of a unique way. It started out with 12 kids in a parking lot with the most inaccurate uniforms you ever saw, but it has blossomed, as you've seen in the last 14 years, to what you see on tape today.
Joe Ryan has developed a unique approach to teaching. He believes in learning by doing. Today, his kids are getting a taste of life in colonial times. They're camped at the Van Wyck Homestead, an authentic 18th century farmhouse and important revolutionary site.
It's good.
A soldier knew how musket balls and buttons were molded. Well, they're learning it today.
Okay, let me have it now. I got it. All right, now let's see. Check the chain on the... All right, there we go.
A soldier knew how a tent went up and what it was like to sleep in one. They're getting some of the experience today.
Has a common experience. As I said before, you live it and learn it.
A soldier back then knew what an 18th century kitchen was. It was his kitchen. In an authentic site, there's some very interesting insights.
It was very hard living in this town, and you can understand when you see this place that all the hardships and stuff they had to go through. And they had to make the best of what they had.
The key of it is, of course, Blue Mountain and the school district I'm in, Henrik Hudson, because they allow you to do this, and they have the flexibility, and they have the kind of caliber of teaching staff to be able to do it.
And the kids had been 24 hours living life of a Civil War soldier. They had real cannons fired at them, the whole bit. And we had this hospital scene where they amputated a leg, and we had a leg made in art. Again, of course, the Unified Arts Department. Every part of our school gets involved. They amputated this leg, and this one kid later on wrote, and we write evaluations of it. He said, you know, Mr. Ryan, I was in a hospital scene, and I saw all the cool blood. And then it dawned on me, these are my friends, and what if it was real? So those are the kinds of things that keep you going. When people, accuse you of being a warmonger or any other thing, or just playing cowboys and Indians, you say, okay, I don't have to defend myself. Talk to my students. There's been 1,400 of them to the program. Talk to them.
Well, I think you learn a lot more when you're out there in the field rather than sitting and reading a textbook.
Doesn't stay in your mind is good because you remember the hardships they had because you went through the hardships also. And it always made me feel like a little more patriotic towards my country to go through the program and to feel like what fighting was all about.
It takes quite a bit of effort. There's no question about it on everybody's part. I often get a lot of the glory because I'm so graphic and out in front, and when you're 6'5", you certainly get attention. But I think the hours of effort on everybody's part, you can't count. But on the other side of the coin, I have never found a program that is more rewarding.
He's great because he explains everything to you. Whereas most teachers, they tell you about wars, they'll just tell you the statistics and what happened, but they won't really give you the feeling of what happened, and he does.
Students are discovering what it was like to be a soldier in the Civil War.
Not much farther to go.
But I think the hours of effort on everybody's part, you can't count.
Students create more than just battles. They also get a taste of what life was like for each historical period studied.
I had a board member's son, and the board member was very upset. This is about 1972, and you can imagine the temper of the country at that point. It was a warmonger or something. And I said, take some time to talk to your son. And he did. He came back later and he said, now, you're not teaching the kids to love war. You're teaching them what it really is a little bit about. And also firing their imagination and enthusiasm for the study of history. The whole concept, I think, is one of building in this experiential learning and trying to fire up a love of social studies, history, your country's heritage, a little bit of pride in there.
When you're here, it's real. It looks real and it feels real, and it makes you really understand what was going through that person's mind when they were doing that, and how they felt about it, and you have a better understanding than when you're reading it out of a textbook or something like that.
Living history does have an effect on their attitudes towards social studies. Where it shows up is the way they think and feel about history and realize there is a human side to history, not just printed words on a page. How do you grade a student in living history? Well, usually I have some kind of writing activity, and they're supposed to make me believe from their writing.
My dearest mother, I write you because I'm scared, Mom. Frightened because I feel the end is near, for I, as well as all the other young men defending the United States, have met up with many men who have different opinions of the war.
I think if you look into the eyes of those students as they marched out of that camp, you wouldn't see a lot of glory there. You'd see a lot of tired students. They've spent 24 hours somewhere an awful lot of students never go, even in their wildest imagination.